as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King, and I'm delighted to welcome back to the studio Sorana Filipescu. She is from Biomagnetism Marbella. Fascinating treatment that is not at all invasive, and I've had great results myself, particularly with that swollen tummy, I have to say. Very flat tummy still. And you've come today, Sorana, welcome.
Hello, Nicole, and thank you for having me again.
I find every time we meet, it's so fascinating. Your knowledge on every aspect about health and well-being is so well researched. And I like that because you back up everything you say with specifics, and you know your proteins and your molecules and your vitamins. So I'm very grateful for you taking the time to come and chat with us. We have a good subject today.
Well,
In fact, I have friends who are doing this, and I thought, are they crazy? It doesn't sound healthy. Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. You said to me, how about intermittent fasting? Like, oh my God, yes. What is it? Really, people just don't eat and then they eat? I mean, don't we do that anyway? Intermittent fasting, we have breakfast, lunch and dinner.
well, actually, it's a very popular, this technique is getting more popular this last years because actors and very famous people start doing it, and as it was working, other people were following it.
Is it for weight loss?
It's for weight loss, and it has a lot of pros because it helps with our health. If we would have done this program 5 years ago, and I would have told you that breakfast, being thought to be the most important meal of the day, actually was wrong, you would have looked at me like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm still looking at you like that.
And told me, come on, Sorana, it's obvious that we need to stick something in our mouth every 3 hours in order to survive. And why is that? Because it's a nutritional dogma that we are living in, and it started with our parents, with our doctors, with our teacher. They're all telling you, eat in order to grow, in order to feel healthy, and okay. But is it really like that? If we are taking a look in our society, we are seeing that practically we're eating all day long, and we have an increased number of obesity, diabetes type 2, cardiovascular disease, and guess what? Everything is related to food.
But
no?
isn't it just because what we're eating as opposed to having 3 regular meals? Isn't it more because we're just having synthetic and...
Of course, this is another important approach. What you eat is very important. Also, the calorie intakes, it's very important. But now I'm going to tell you that it's more important when you eat than what you eat. The frequency of our meals and when we eat, it's crucial, and it's very important to our health. So if you think during all human history, starting with the caveman, do you think that they were eating all day long? They were eating whenever they could catch something. They were hunting, they were catching something, and they were feasting of that. And after that, they were waiting the next opportunity that maybe it was in a couple of days, maybe it was the next day, but no one was chasing after them with apple juice or a protein bar to stay fit. So also during the history, people were not eating all day long because they were working, so they were having another things to think about. And if we're thinking nowadays, we're snacking all day long. In the 1970s, the National Health Institute said that it's very important to have 3 meals a day in a time frame of 12 hours. So you're waking up at 8, you're having your breakfast, at noon lunch, and at dinner. Dinner would be around 6 because everyone was returning from work at 6 and having dinner. It was not even thought, no one was thinking about snacking in between. If you were having lunch and you were hungry afterwards, your mom, what would she say? Don't eat because you will ruin your appetite for dinner. Or after dinner, if you would want to eat, your mom would say you should have eaten more for dinner. So that was it. But take a glimpse now in the health and eating program that our kids and everyone has today. They're having breakfast. After that, they're having a snack. After that, they're having lunch. They're having a snack afterwards, dinner. And when you're watching a movie home, you're snacking and eating something. So practically, you're eating all day long, like 16 hours. And resting while you're sleeping 8 hours. Do you think it's healthy? So it's a calorie intake that's very big. And it's contrasting with a very short period of time that you're not eating. So while we're eating so much, we're like overtaxing our digestive system, our stomach, our pancreas, our liver. So if you're overtaxing it, in the end it won't work properly. So it won't absorb the nutrients from our food. And a very important feature is the eliminating. So you have to eliminate all the liquids and everything that you're eating. So if you're not eliminating them well, you will have a lot of toxin inside, and that's also damaging for your health. So a lot of problems only thinking about the modern eating program.
It's funny because you would never have thought of it in that way, that every organ is in constant motion, processing. If we're eating all the time, then we're working our organs all the time.
Yeah.
It's funny, and just different way of thinking about it.
That's a different approach, because until now, if you were going a few years ago to a nutritionist, they were telling you, you have to eat small portions in several meals a day, and that's healthy. You're not like overcharging your stomach. But what happens when you're eating? When something comes in, pancreas start to produce insulin. And insulin is a hormone that tells our body where to store the food energy. To store it in form of glucose in our cells, in our liver, in our muscles. But if we're eating all day long, what does it happen? It's like an over storage. We're like storing too much quantity, so we're not even needing that. So
I understood it was like, if you don't eat on a regular basis, your body holds on to the fat because it doesn't know when it's going to get its next meal. So it's a completely different philosophy.
the most important thing when we're eating, it's not the calories that we're eating. The problem is not the calories. The problem is what our body is doing with those calories. And here, a most important role, a major role, is playing insulin. Insulin is like the policeman that's regulating the traffic. It says, okay, calorie come in, you're going to be burned or you're going to be stored. So that's important. Fasting, you're regulating the levels of insulin. So that helps you tap into other fuel sources that we have for our energy. If you think until now, have you done any diet in your life?
Yeah, several.
Yeah, everyone, I think, any adult has tried to do a diet that in the end was not working. We're trying reducing calorie. The paradigm is eat less and work out more. So when we're doing that, we're decreasing the calories. So we're thinking that we're going to burn more calories, so we're going to reduce our weight, so everyone is happy. Actually, all those programs, the famous programs with all the stars and people overweight people that go there to lose weight. So they're staying a certain period of time, they're a couple of months, and they're having a diet, they're reducing calories, and their energy waste is big. So they're working out 4 hours a day. Normally you lose weight. But what does this do to your body? The metabolism is slowing down because our body needs energy for our heart to beat, for our liver to function well, for our pancreas and all the organs. They need energy. We need energy to keep warm, to be warm. That's why when you're losing weight, you start being cold, because energy is produced to make you feel comfortable. But when we are reducing calorie, our metabolism respond. And insulin, that's the policeman, it's still there because you're eating all day long small quantities, but so the insulin, the pancreas, is still producing insulin. So instead, you're tapping into the storage of energy that normally is fat. That's what we want there's where we want to go. We're tapping into glucose storage. That's the first thing. So we're taking it from there. But because insulin is high, so we're tapping into those storages, and we're not touching the
fat one.
Yeah. So your metabolism is lower. So no one thought about making a reunion of those people of this program, of those programs, after 5 years. So what would happen? You will see that they gained the weight back, because after being in their homes, they're not working out 4 hours a day. They're working out less, and they're eating more or less the same thing. So their weight comes back. So the major thing and the most important thing is trying to keep those hormones down, insulin down. So now speaking about intermittent fasting.
We're going to go to a break and then come back to talk about the intermittent fasting, because, you know, I've never heard of insulin spoken about except for example, with my dad's diabetes. And to hear that insulin is such an important factor in just general of our digestion is a surprise. A few messages from our sponsor. Big thank you, Linear Director, for giving us free taxis up to 4 times a month and a free tow truck if we've been drinking, so we don't drink and drive if we're policy holders. And of course, our Zero Hero partners, sponsoring our community with free soft drinks for the designated driver, promoting our road traffic safety awareness. We'll be back with Sarana Filipescu of Biomagnetismo Marbella in just a moment. Don't go away. We're talking intermittent fasting.
Judy and John are getting along famously. They have so much in common, which now includes both being too tipsy to drive home.
Oh, John, you can't drive home like that. Neither can I.
John looks worried, but not our Judy. She simply calls Linear Director for a free taxi and a tow truck to take her and her car home. Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 to see how they can better your life too. Judy likes to consider herself a clever young woman, which is why she thought very carefully before choosing her insurance company. Now that she needs it, she's jolly glad she chose Linear Director, as it looks as if she might have something better to do. Why don't you be clever, like Judy? Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 and see which policy is best for you.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hogan Stand. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign, and we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
Our welcome Zero Heroes. How many visitors?
G-Wine is happy to be Zero Hero partner.
How cool is that? G-Wine.
Thank you. Glad and are proud to present Zero the Hero. Never drink and drive.
McNulty's is proud to be a Zero Hero partner.
Out of bounds, Zero Hero partners.
Here we are, sticker going on. Delighted to welcome everybody and to be part of the Zero Hero campaign. delighted.
Zero, welcome here. At the Gaucho de Lanús.
Welcome to Lemongrass, Doña Lola. Thank you very much.
Let the feeling into your soul. Let it set you on your way. No need to
Zero Hero, welcome to Portofino, Cabo Pino.
there'll be no trouble. Hey, hey.
Welcome back to the second part of the show. Fascinating. We're learning about intermittent fasting. Before I actually ask how long the intermittent has to be in that fasting, I want to go back to something you mentioned just before the break. Insulin. Oh, also welcome back, Sorana Filipescu, biomagnetism Marbella. Insulin is something I've heard about with diabetes, and
Yeah.
you're talking about it. Insulin, insulin. Everything we eat, insulin, insulin, insulin. What is insulin then? What does this thing do?
Insulin is a hormone that's produced by the pancreas. It's not bad and it's not good. Actually, what it tells your body how to store the food energy. So when you're eating, it depends what you're eating, pancreas starts producing this hormone because we need energy. Our cells need energy. So insulin cell, it's like a policeman that has a key. Opens the cells and said, okay, for the cells that much energy, for the liver that much energy, and for the muscle that much energy. But sometimes a lot of sugar and a lot of energy from the food keeps on like free
So
in our body.
a diabetic person,
Yeah.
they have to have insulin injections because the body doesn't know where to send the right...
That's a different thing. It's diabetes type 1 and type 2. There's a different problem from your pancreas. Maybe it's not producing insulin, or maybe it's not producing enough or good quality. That's a different thing. But when you're healthy and when you're eating, insulin, it's being produced whenever you're eating something in order to break down this food to absorb energy. That's because we mainly need energy to survive.
Energy being the operative word.
Yes.
Energy.
Energy. So this is being stored in your liver, in your muscles, in your cells. But if you exceed those calories, this storage is where the glucose is like overwhelmed. So fat is being, it's stored in fat. And normally all those fat is around our waist, around the major organs. It's like the visceral fat. So that's the bad thing. Whenever you see a person that has a lot of visceral fat, you will know it has insulin resistance. It has already some problems there, and it might determine and target other problems like diabetes type 2. That's the epidemic of this century. In the US, the researchers have been proven that 2 out of 10 people have diabetes type 2, and that's only food related. That's inquired. You are not born with it. You have it because your lifestyle. The things that we're speaking in the beginning of the program, it's very important the quality of food that you're having and the types of food. If you're having all the carbohydrates and sugar, in the end you will have this over storage of energy, of glucose that will transform in fat. So that's what we don't want to happen. So with intermittent fasting, it's the lack of food for a certain amount of time.
How long? This is the worrying thing. Every time my friend talks about it and says like, oh, I'm doing this intermittent fasting thing, not for weight loss, just for health. And I just feel hungry listening to her. It's like, are you never eating? How long? What is the setup for intermittent fasting?
Normally, we can start with less and increasing afterwards. But the intermittent fasting, it's like 16 hours of fast, that's the fast, and 8 hours of eating. We either exist in a fasting mode or a fed mode. So when we are eating, insulin is produced, and when we are fasting, insulin level goes down.
Which means the body then uses the energy it has stored up as opposed to just adding on more.
When we're eating, energy goes in, And when we're fasting, energy is taken from all the storage. That's why when you go to sleep at night, you don't die every night. That's why, because you're tapping into those storages, energy storages, and you're taking them out in order to survive. But the very most important thing is what happens with the energy stores and where it goes and how it's burned. So when you have when you don't have that fat, you're tapping into the glucose and you're tapping into you don't have a lot of fat stored. So that's what you want to avoid, to have a lot of fat storage. And by not eating, you think that, oh, I'm not going to eat 16 hours. That's a lot. That's very scary. But actually it isn't. I'm all the time recommending it. Take it slow. Start with a 12-hour period. Because before, as I was telling you, you are having 3 meals a day. You are starting at 8 and finishing dinner at 6. But from 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning, you are practically fasting. But you were never thinking about that. So breakfast means break your fast. So you are starting breakfast, and it would pass like 12 hours without eating. The key in all that is don't take it as a diet, because diet is restriction, means something negative, and you will say, oh, I'm going to starve to death. I cannot do it. So take it as a lifestyle and try it, because with my husband, we have been trying a lot of diets. He's a little bit overweight. He gained weight in the last years. So we tried calorie reducing. We tried, okay, not too many carbs, a protein diet, whatever. In the end, it was not working because he was gaining that weight back, and he was unhappy. He was depressed. Changing it now to intermittent fasting, he knows that whenever he's eating, he can eat practically whatever he wants. There's also some brackets, but he's having fun and he's enjoying life, and he sees that all that fat comes down. Because when
so it's like basically go 1 day without eating, all day, or 2 days?
There are different approaches. We start, if you want to start with a 12 hours fast period. So you end up
Does that include the sleeping time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if you have your dinner, I don't know what time you have your dinners.
Oh, it depends. I mean, I'm very Spanish. It could be 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Okay. It's the good thing about intermittent fasting, that it's free and it's flexible. Everyone can do it, and it doesn't cost money. So you end your dinner at 10 o'clock. You start with a fast, so you will eat your breakfast at 10. 12 hours fast, so it's not difficult.
In fact, I actually do intermittent fasting all the time. I frequently go all day without eating and then just have a meal. And
you see,
I thought it was bad for me.
No, it's not. Actually, the benefits of intermittent fasting are you have a clearer mind because your insulin is down. You're losing weight. You don't need it because you look amazing.
I obviously do intermittent fasting, that's why.
You lose weight. That's a lot of people want to lose weight. So we're losing weight. Your sugar level in your blood go down. Cholesterol levels go down. Insulin level go down. You're feeling more. You're having more energy. And another thing, we're tapping into autophagy. Autophagy is it's a very weird word.
Never heard that before.
Auto, it means self. Phagy, it means eating. So our body starts eating all the waste that we have in our cells and extracellular. So that's very good. It's very good against cancer. So you're helping your bodies to stay healthy. So a lot of benefits. It's not bad, actually, it's good. You know, we're going now against the nutritional dogma that we were living until now. So you start with this and start increasing after 1 day or two. You're fasting 13 hours, 14 hours until you reach the 16 hours time frame that it's recommended to fast with an 8-hour eating frame. So it's not as difficult as it seems.
Also, one thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the fallacy of how things have been and how they've always been, and an athlete having to have lots of protein to build up muscles, and now it turns out that the best athletes and Lewis Hamilton and racing drivers are all changing to plant-based diets.
Yes.
I know myself now living in a plant-based diet household,
Yes.
that when I do eat meat, you can feel the difference of that processing. So if I eat anything, I don't feel tired, but if I do have a hamburger or something with me, I notice afterwards I do feel tired. Living what you're saying, it's curious that we've never looked at this before, but obviously what you're saying now, it's the body working to process, and takes a lot of energy.
It takes a lot of energy. It also depends what type of food we put in, because also meat. Nowadays, it's not the meat that people were having 100 years ago. It's full of antibiotics. It's full of hormones, because if you go and take a chicken, it's not a chicken that's grass-fed. It's a chicken that has a lot of hormones, so it stores water, so it's bigger, it's nicer, and you would buy it because it looks better. So you're putting all that into your body. Of course that your body will react, and you will feel more like tired, because your body doesn't know how to process all those chemical things that are new to it. So it's very important what you eat. If you want to have a plant-based diet, have it. If you want to have also some meat, have it, but have it organic. Have the best kind of protein you can have. So when we're breaking our fast, it's also very important the nutrients and the food we are having. Have good levels of fat, because being pre-menopause in women, or having the menopause or after, it's very important to eat healthy fat, because that's where the hormones are produced off. So have healthy fat, have rich type of protein and healthy protein, like grass-fed meat or cold.
We have quite a few restaurants that promote grass-fed meat, organic, and I don't think, obviously it's improving as the years we talk about it more, there's more understanding, but with you talking now, it's like, right, okay, so I mean it hasn't got the antibiotics in it, it hasn't been plumped up for this, you're actually getting a more natural product, even if it is, so it's funny how the more understanding in it.
Everything it's about knowledge. Until now we didn't ask ourselves too many questions, or we didn't have, it was not available to us too much information, so we were thinking everything that we were seeing on TV. Drink this milk, it contains a lot of calcium, it's good for your bones, so it's good for your health. And we noticed that nowadays a lot of children are super allergic to diarrhea.
And we shouldn't be drinking other mothers' baby milk.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, now when you think about it, it doesn't make sense anyway.
But again, the dogma, you were raised in that. Your parents said it's good for you. Drink that milk that you will have healthy bones and you will grow and be healthy. So now everything is changing, because actually medicine and science is a live thing. It's changing, and it's changing due to all the information that appears and all those studies, because we are living in an area that everything is evidence-based. Evidence-based medicine, evidence-based nutrition. So I'm going to follow your advice if I can see it with my own eyes that's working. If not, I'm not. So, but we are already having the evidence. But why can't we follow it? Because there's a lot of things behind that. The producer that's producing the milk won't tell you, don't drink it because it's not healthy. Because you're eating a product, the milk, that it's not a milk that's coming from the cow. It's coming, but the process that reached until it's on the shelf, supermarket shelf, it went through a lot of process. So first, the cow is eating a grass that it has a lot of pesticide. The cow received antibiotics. The cow received hormones to grow. So now everything it's packed now in the milk. Milk is going to go to a process of pasteurization that kills practically every enzymes that are good for you. So in the end, you will have a product that won't do anything good for you.
Nothing that you're thinking it's doing, a completely different end product. Well, I can't tell you how fascinating it is to talk to you. One quick question before we have to leave it today. In that intermittent fasting, that optimum 16 hours, can you drink? Do you drink water in that time? Yes.
Of course. The things that are permitted and won't break your fast are water, tap water, mineral water, whatever you want, tea, but no plain tea and plain coffee. And it's very good to stay hydrated. So you have to drink, and also if you feel that you're being hungry, drink water, and that's what's like calming you. But it's also a process. So in the beginning you might feel hungry because you're starting to eat. That would be my that would be my lunch. So your brain is thinking about that. So the ghrelin, that's the food, the hunger hormone, is activated. But actually, if you pass a few days and you get used to that, you will see it's not difficult. You should try it, and we can speak about it in...
We will definitely in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
I kind of think, even without realizing it, I frequently do intermittent fasting. I get up, I start working, and it's only in the evening I realize, frequently my son-in-law says, oh, if you're looking in the fridge, you don't know what it is, you're thirsty, not hungry.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like last night, I got to right at the end of the night, and it's like, yeah, I actually think I'm hungry now. I haven't eaten all day. I've been just drinking water. So.
And actually, it's very good, and it's very flexible. You can do it, and everyone can do it. Actually, some cultures are doing it. Also, they're fasting before Easter, Ramadan. They're fasting, and no one died for it.
But if you keep busy, is the option. Keep yourself busy and don't think about it. But you've given us a lot to think about. We have to leave it there for today. Don't worry, Sorana Filipescu will be returning to the program. She's a regular feature because she's just a mine of information. I mean, you know, like the details, as you've all seen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole.
Just from my point of view, personal recommendation, Sorana takes a holistic approach to everything. It's not just her biomagnetism that she firmly believes in, but it's the knowledge of everything else that goes around it, because we are more than just one aspect. So it's nice when a professional takes every aspect into consideration.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much. That's it for today. More of what's going on in Marbella Now tomorrow. Big surprise coming up. Stay with us, and remember, you can watch recordings of the program from the RTV Marbella website, also from my website, nicoleking.es, with links to the show, my column, The Marbella Moments and Neuro Weekly News, and our Zero Hero website, rewarding the designated driver. Hasta mañana. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to each other. See you then.
We can change if we try.